Welcome to the Fifth Quarter Podcast. We're back. We're back.
We're back.
It's been a long time, Rack. It's really good to see you, bud.
Man, I missed you guys.
Hey, episode 13, we're here. No Carl Schoening here this time. We're doing it ourselves. He showed me how to kind of set it all up, but we're still using the SHN broadcast in a box, so they're still helping us out big time here with that. If you ever want to do a podcast or any kind of recording deal, reach out to SHN Sports at SHN Sports on Twitter. But good to be back. You know,
Yeah.
it's unfortunately it's just been a few losses since the last time we checked in with the Bobcats. It's been Arkansas State and then Louisiana. They've dropped to, and it's been really in the second half of these games you can really see it, and it falls apart, and it's disheartening to see that. I mean, with Vic getting out there at quarterback, and he's getting a little bit more comfortable, but it just they seem to get that halftime, and something happens. The luster gets taken out of this team. But what have you noticed the past this last game? You know, you and I off camera, we talked a little bit about the defense and stuff like that. But what are some things you've noticed about this team?
So, man, you said it yourself, just second half play. It just seems like every game now we come out and we're able to get us some stops there, and we're able to just keep it close kind of going into that halftime. But when it comes out to the second half, we're not able to compete with those guys. It's just we look like a different team in the second half, and everybody who we play look like a completely different team for the better in the second half of those ball games. So that's definitely what I'm seeing from the quarterback play. Everybody's finally got their guy. They finally got Tyler Vitt. You guys were acting like Tyler Vitt was a savior or something. I mean,
I was.
Yeah, you
don't blame them. Blame me. It's my guy.
Keff, come on, man. It's the same Tyler Vitt, man. But he's just been the same Tyler Vitt. I mean, I hate to say it, but he's the same Tyler Vitt. He shows. He shows some flashes, and then the next thing you know, incoming a bonehead play, pick, underthrowing balls, throwing balls behind guys, and I just have not been impressed at the quarterback position, offensive line. We need help. I mean, just create a sign. Just need O linemen. Okay, I'm just need to start creating signs. But. We need help on the offensive line, and the quarterback play has been very, very inconsistent. It's been the SOS pretty much the whole season this year.
Yeah, and I'm gonna defend Vic a little bit. Vic, I'm gonna defend Vitt a little bit, just because I saw him get a little bit more comfortable last game. He threw those 2 picks, which is never great. And he is very boom or bust, like you said. It's either a dynamic play or a disaster of a play. There's no real in between with Tyler Vitt. But, he had Eddie Rivas was out, and so they were starting to walk on freshman, Jaden Smith at guard. And you could tell there's a lot of problems on that side of the line, a lot of pressure on Vitt. I mean, he had no time, and he was taking some shots. And his throwing, I'm not in love with his throwing, specifically his decisions. I'm not in love with that. He'll throw those really bad picks that are just upsetting. You got something you want to say?
Right. So how can you give him the benefit of the doubt then?
Well, hold on, I'm not finished.
Okay, that's why I wanted to wait.
I'm still getting there.
But there's more. There's a but somewhere coming.
I'm building to my big point here. There was a lot of injuries for him.
Right.
I mean, Twyford left the game. Jeremiah Haydell, he took that late hit and he ran into the coaching calm thing. I don't know if you saw that in that broadcast.
I did.
He got a concussion from that, so he's in protocol. Wow. We'll definitely get into more injuries here in a second. But he was missing a lot of parts on the offense, and those picks didn't happen until the second half after he had taken a beating. I mean, he got smacked so much in that first half. It was crazy that he was. I mean, the toughness he exhibited was admirable, honestly, because the blocking just wasn't there for him. But I mean, that being said, there's still something off with his decisions. He just looks at that one receiver and he's like, that's my guy. And I've asked Spavital about it before, like, why doesn't he go through his progressions a little bit more? And he says it's almost that Vitt believes too much in his athletic ability. Like, I'm going to get that ball in there. Like, this pass is going to work. And that's not a good thing. He's got to learn to know what he's capable of. But as far as where the quarterback situation is this season, it is what it is. Because Gresh Jensen's still in concussion protocol, so it has to be Vitt. But I will say Jalen Gibson is now the official backup. You know, in the past 2 weeks with Jensen out, Spavital didn't want to name a backup, but he said Gibson, you know, they moved him to receiver in fall camp, back out of receiver, back with the quarterbacks, and now he's the backup. So if Vitt something goes wrong, then we're going to see Jalen Gibson.
If something goes wrong, meaning he's injured, concussion, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to pull him.
They're not going to pull Vitt for any kind of. Vitt can be having the worst game ever, but they're not going to pull him to put Gibson in there. So
I don't think
if anybody is praying and hoping Gibson can get his chance, that just. Let it go, because I just don't see that happening.
I'd love to see him get out there.
I would.
Just to see him do something. But
I would love to see that too.
Do you think would you, if you were a coach, if it was Coach Orakpo with a headset on, would you trot Gibson out there, given all the issues with Vitt?
I would see what he can do in practice first. Yeah. In the current where it's at right now, I probably wouldn't do that because they just don't have him game ready.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been playing receiver like the whole year.
Yeah, he's only been back doing quarterback stuff for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So at this point, I would feel most confident still having Vitt in there. But if it was a situation to where I felt that Vitt wasn't getting the job done for me, which I would start giving Gibson more reps and just seeing what he can do in practice. Yeah. So I wonder if they've really been evaluating him as a possible player. I doubt it. So I doubt that that's something that's coming up in their mind. Like, hey, let's give Gibson a chance.
That's a good point. They've mentally moved on from him at quarterback, and then to bring him back, it's not ideal. It's the situation they're in right now, though.
Right.
With no McBride being able to play. And then, the other guy, you got Cedric Case, the true freshman there.
Yeah.
And I brought him up in the press conference yesterday and was like, what about Cedric Case? And he kind of shrugged it off and started talking about Gibson. So that tells me,
Gibson is the backup.
Gibson's definitely that backup. But I don't think it's going to be a deal where we're going to see Gibson just to get him some reps. It's going to be, okay, an emergency has happened. Yeah. Time to put in Gibson. So they're going to have to roll with Vitt. And he had some design runs where it had like 38 yards rushing, which was it's the first time I hadn't seen negative from a quarterback this year from so many sacks. He just lowers his shoulder and tries to go through DBs. He does all these tough things, right, that make me want to root for him. I'm like, I really want him in there. And then he'll throw that ball, this sort of pick, and I'm just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, man, those plays are what we're gonna expect out of Tyler Vitt. He can move. He's a little bit. He's pretty mobile. He's a little mobile, so he can pick up a couple yards on his feet. With the legs. But when I watch Tyler Vitt, man, it's just like his throwing ability is just not accurate enough to me. I'm not sure what it is. But. Just watching them, he's not making the throw. Even the throws that he is making, if you go back and watch them, the receivers are making tough catches. I mean, they're turning their body to catch balls behind them. Some balls are high. Like there was a screen bubble play. It was critical third down play. It was literally a catch and pitch. Just get him the ball. And it's just like we catch it and then just the ball is too high. So our receiver couldn't catch the ball. It was critical third down. And I looked for where the real estate was. I mean, there was real estate everywhere on the football field. And it was like, dang, that was a critical third down where we could have got it. And it's just the inconsistency of the accuracy coming from that quarterback position. And
you said it was high, right? The pass.
Yeah.
And that's been an issue.
His balls has been high. Every ball is like the receiver is doing this, just try to put it in the chest.
Get in their numbers.
Right here. Get in the numbers.
Yeah. And that has a weapon that they had. Micah Hiltz is another guy who's in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
That was a luxury that they had, a big tall receiver that even if someone like Vitt throws high, they could still kind of have the size to go get that ball. And they're missing some of the pieces where their deficiencies are really highlighted when some of those guys are out.
You got Twyford out.
And Twyford's out too. I guess, good time to go over some injuries because Spavital went over injuries yesterday. A lot of guys are out. Obviously, off the bat, Gresh Jensen's still in concussion protocol. It's been a few weeks now, so obviously that's a pretty bad concussion. Jeremiah Haydell, he got pushed out of bounds, ran into the coaching comm deal on the sideline, big old computer thing where they watch video on, and he got a concussion there. Mike Hiltz got a concussion against Arkansas State. So all three of those guys are going to be out this week. Twyford got hurt last week.
Yep.
Unlikely he goes. Coach was saying it's probably going to be Anthony Taylor starting at running back. And then Eddie Rivas out at guard. You're going to have Jaden Smith starting again, a walk-on freshman starting there on the offensive line. I mean, so this offense is beat up. Oh, and KDOT, Jeremiah Shareed. He didn't even play last game. He's been practicing, so he might play this game. But there's, I mean, just literally insult to injury for this offense. They'd already been averaging 18 points a game. One of the worst teams scoring.
And the offense already wasn't productive.
No, and then they lose like
and then
the
they
ones that are
lose
productive.
all the ones that are productive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a case of just bad injuries, man. And then we are seeing right now that at least on the offensive side of the ball, there's no depth. And we talked about that earlier. We talked about that earlier in the year. It's just like there's no depth. There's no two deeps. You know, we're barely trying to find the front runner, the starter. You know, so when you got the starter going down, there's no body quality there to back these guys up. And that's kind of, you know, where we've been.
Yeah, literally insult to injury. You know, I mean, it's the offense wasn't doing great, but the few pieces that were, but now some of those are gone. Yeah, you know, I mean, their one go-to receiver that they really have there now is like Hutch White, and he's been solid. I mean, so many catches, like third and some out catches, receptions, not yards. They're all for short little passes.
That doesn't do me any good.
No, nothing. You don't give him any love for that.
Keff, I hate. I'm not trying to be negative, guys. I mean, he can. Dumping it down to him is cool, but leading the Sun Belt or being in top of the Sun Belt in receptions does us no good. It's how many yards are you getting? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can have 1,000 receptions, but I mean, if you only have 200 some yards, and it's just like, you know, what good is that doing us? You know, so it just comes from a talent level. There we have to have talent in these positions to be able to be successful. We don't have 1,000-yard rusher. There's no receivers on our team is going to get anywhere near 1,000 this year. Nobody on our team in the backfield in the running back is going to get anywhere near 1,000 rushing. I mean, they might not even get close to 500-600 yards. You know, we'll see, but we don't have it.
They even get 1,000 as a team? They may not.
They may not even get 1,000 as a team. You know, when is the last time Texas State had a 1,000-yard rusher? When is the last time Texas State had a 1,000-yard receptions, you know, for our receivers? Mm-hmm. You know, we have to start getting guys that is capable of putting up those numbers. We had a tight end, you know, no. The transfer. What's his name?
Keenan Brown.
Keenan Brown. You know, Keenan Brown was a playmaker. We brought Keenan Brown in, great transfer that came in, and you guys see the impact that Keenan Brown had. Yes, he wasn't a 1,000-yard guy, you know, but the moment we started getting him the rock and feeding him the rock as a tight end, having 700-800 yards in the season is very, very productive for his position. So when people talk a lot about the coaching, guys, you have to get talent on a Division I football team for coaches to be able to be successful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for the last time 1,000-yard rusher, I think Rob Lowe. I couldn't tell you on the receiver though. 1,000-yard receiver, I have no idea. But you're absolutely right that because I wasn't even mad at the coaching last week. Yeah. There have been times where some of the offensive plays, I'm like, okay, come on, like enough with the screens or the QB draw or the QB draw on third down specifically. You know, these lateral plays, I'm like, get downfield. Let's do something to get downfield. And they didn't do that a lot last week, but they had other wrinkles into the offense, specifically in the run game with Vid. I liked a lot of what I saw. So I haven't been mad at the play calling or the offense. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm in the same boat as you. Like, okay, I'm looking at what's on the field, and these guys need to get on the recruiting trail. I mean, that's the bottom line. You got to go. Yeah. You got to go. There are some guys who are very talented on this team. There's a lot of guys who are talented, but they need more. They need more depth because when injuries happen, when offensive linemen go down, you don't want to walk on freshmen out of Hayes High School right up the road in Buda down from the college. No offense to Jaden Smith. He's a pretty good player. Actually, coach even said that. Did a really good job stepping in there with that big role. But you don't want that to be the direct backup for your guard.
Right.
Revis goes down your starter, and then you move up a walk-on freshman. No, it shouldn't be that way. It should be there should be a plethora of players to choose from, and that all happens on the recruiting trail,
right?
Which we'll get into in a second with what's going to happen this week with recruiting. They have a pretty solid plan, but that's kind of the conclusion that I came to in October. It's not. I'm not blaming coaching at all. I mean, it hasn't been great. With Spavital's first year, a lot of these guys, it's their first go around, so I give a little bit of leeway there, but I think what this team really needs is an influx in talent, and that can happen. Just got to get on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting up here, being 1,000% truthful if I said that I wasn't a little bit disappointed. In the coaching so far, and it's not. I don't think has anything to do with necessarily our coaches. It's just from what we've been seeing on the field. It's not that any coach is incapable of getting it done. It's just from what we've actually seen on the football field. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, when we got Coach Spav and we came in, come on now. We're getting one of the best, offensive minds in the country, coming from West Virginia, having – being associated, running some of the best offenses in the country in college football, So right now, of course, you don't want to turn on your TV or be watching the game when we're only putting up 3 points, So sometimes, Keff, what happens with teams are, and I can break it down to you, what happens with teams are sometimes you have okay coaches who are just, decent coaches. They're pretty good coaches, but they're beast recruiters. They know how to get very talented people on their football team, and it kind of masks their true coaching abilities because they don't have to be the greatest coach in the world. They can be able to be successful with great recruits, okay? You have those kind of coaches. Then you have the coaches who are used to not getting the best recruits and the top recruits. Those coaches are used to being able to play with the bottom feeders. They don't get the first litter, the first pick out of the litter, and they have to be able to be successful with who they have. And, coming from 2000, after my senior year, we went 7-5. We came out. We had, I think, a 3-2-8 year, and another 3-9 year, and another 3-9 year. We're at a point right now where when you look at Texas talent that we have right now, we don't have the first pick. We was back in the day, believe it or not, we used to get in the recruiting battles with U of H at one point. When Fran was here, and we was able to be going head to head with a lot of the other teams. But right now, we have gotten to the point now where we've got to start being a little bit more strategic and knowing that, look, we don't have the best guys, as you can see right now, it's harder to get recruits bought in now because we've went year after year with, not being able to have success. And that's just the state of where Texas State is right now. So I understand, like I feel Coach Spav. We got to go get some of these JUCO guys. I know that's one of our questions. Absolutely. We'll get to that. But where we are right now, coaching staff have to realize we got a lot of Power 5 coaches on our team. They're used to having more talent. We have
and not having to work so hard to go get the talent,
and not having to work. They're able to get some of those guys.
Go.
At Texas State, you have got to go. Once you see a guy you like, you got to offer that guy. You got to go, and you got to get on him and say, "Hey, man, look, we've been in it with you since the beginning." So when you're recruiting, when you're going up against guys from Nevada and San Jose and Arkansas State, and it's just like, we were your first offers. We love you. You're gonna play for us year one when you come. That's kind of where we got to get to.
It's like dating. You got to show love.
You got to show love, man.
If you try and play it cool and be hard to get, can't do that at Texas State.
Absolutely.
You can do that at some bigger schools maybe, but at Texas State, you got to be texting these kids every single day trying to get them.
Yeah.
But I'm totally with you. It's funny when you're talking about a beast recruiter and so coach. I was thinking Fran, and then you said that too. That's what he did. I mean, it's not a diamond. It worked.
Right.
It worked for a while. But it is true that and that's what the weird situation is with these guys. Is that I don't think it's that they're bad recruiters or bad at the X's and O's. It's a different type of recruiting you have to do at Texas State. You've got to really be on them, and you've got to be trying to set up visits and everything, like the all throughout the season. You got to be really just harping after them, trying to get these guys to come in. And like you said, when you offer them first and then a P5 comes along, because now when I see a school that is comparable or bigger than Texas State offer a kid they're going after, I'm like, well, he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah. I'm like, they can't go toe-to-toe with that. And that didn't happen. I mean, you look at Jared Morris on the Bobcats right now, that was an SMU guy before Withers got in there and pulled him away from that. I mean, there's plenty of examples. It can be done, but these guys got to start doing it. Yeah. Because that's the biggest thing that this program needs is talent. And they gotta get on that recruiting trail and go get it. And and they've got a game this week. I guess we'll kind of transition to that because I want to talk about the recruiting that's going there. They've got a game this week in South Alabama, homecoming game against a team that they are projected to beat by 7.5 points. As of today, it's Wednesday. They're projected to their 7.5 point favorite. But and these coaches, they know that they need to get some more recruits in, and they have. Coach said it. He initially said it on Monday on a radio show that he's going to have 6 transfer portal guys come in. I asked him about it yesterday at the press conference. He confirmed it, and then I got some names. That's why I'm grabbing my phone over here. Got some names. It's 2 transfer portal guys and 4 JUCO guys that are coming. The first JUCO or first transfer portal guy is Jamal Jeter, a running back at Oklahoma State. That could be very helpful considering this team is the worst rushing team in the Sun Belt right now, like 82 yards a game. Yeah, brutal when I look at that. So
need some depth back there. Yeah. Definitely that running game it's needs to improve. Definitely needs depth. That's a good guy coming in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and, they've had to getting a transfer guy from Oklahoma State. We were just talking about Keenan Brown.
Yeah.
As many of those Oklahoma State guys
come on to Sam Mo.
Bring them on down. No, but they're also looking at, it's not on my list here, but they're looking at another running back named Brock Sturgis, who went to Arizona State, was offered by Bobcats, chose Arizona State, and now he's at Butler Community College.
Gotcha.
Playing running back there. I'm not sure what happened. I think he just wasn't getting playing time. Was trying to look for a different avenue. But they just offered him. And that's one that because when they were recruiting him out of high school, it seemed like they were getting some leeway. So hopefully they can swing back around and go get him. But yeah, so Jamal Jeter at Oklahoma State, he's going to be in San Marcos on Saturday. Giovanni Stewart. He's listed as a linebacker, but I think he's a DB out of West Virginia. West Virginia connection with Coach Spav. That's definitely where he knew that guy. Those are the 2 transfer portal guys who have entered the portal looking for a new school. They'll be here on Saturday.
Now, what is the status of these guys? Are they graduates, or is it something where they may have to sit out a year to be eligible or have to apply? Are these graduate transfers, or we don't know that yet?
I don't think either one has played much this year.
Okay.
Because that was the thing with McBride. When he transferred into the waiver wire, he had played some last year, and I feel like that didn't help his case about can you just count that as I didn't play? And so if these guys were transferring, I think it would be easier for them to get the eligibility. I just think what hung up McBride is he came in 2 weeks into fall camp.
Okay.
Like if these guys transferred now, and we're talking next season, that'd be long enough to appeal the NCAA and try and get that waiver.
Okay, so it'd be a waiver.
Yeah, because none of them are. Well, I will say Giovanni Stewart is a junior, and if he's a 4th-year junior, maybe he's a graduate transfer because that's like what Keenan Brown did.
Right.
So I'd have to do more research on that. Gotcha. Sorry, folks. Yeah. But I mean, and I'll definitely do that before Saturday, whenever they start to come visit, and we'll definitely circle back to these guys. But to some JUCO guys that are coming, some of these guys I've tweeted about before if you're following me on Twitter. But Quentin Lee, He's a defensive lineman out of Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. I didn't want to say Northwestern. That's what I told you earlier. Big old D lineman. You know, you always need D linemen. So that's a good.
How big is he?
He is 6'4", 260.
Yeah, that's some good size right there.
You can play. I feel like inside, outside. A lot of things you can do with that size there. Then we got Drew Jackson. I remember watching his film earlier. He's a receiver out of Tyler, and he's got some big offers like Boise State and some other guys, but it's another taller receiver, 6'1", 195.
Yep,
could always use more receivers. I'll tell you, the receiver is they have a lot of bodies there, but it was almost what you were talking to earlier about playmakers.
No playmakers.
They need more, and Drew Jackson is definitely that down the field playmaker. So
gotcha. That
would be a good one. Trenton Scott. Oh, yeah, this is the high school guy. Okay, yeah, this is the one high school guy that they've confirmed is coming. He's out of Luling, just right down the road.
Right down the street.
6'6".
Craig Mager University.
Craig Mager, how about it, right? You know what they do in Luling? They have the World Championship watermelon seed spitting contest.
Wow.
So people come from all over. I don't know how far all over really is. Water seeds, and they spit them like 30 yards or something crazy.
I go to Luling for their barbecue, man.
They got that too.
they got the best barbecue in the area.
If you ever want some barbecue and watermelon seed spit,
Luling, Texas.
Go down to Luling. No, Trent Scott, he'll be in town. That's the one high school guy that I got. And then the other two were Alex Castillo. We're definitely familiar with him. San Marcos High School product, and he was at Tyler also, just like Drew. And then the one out of high school, Isaiah Nixon. Yeah, he's the Elkins running.
We've known about those.
Yeah, he's the Elkins running back that's going to transition to linebacker once he gets here. And it seems like Isaiah Nixon's very committed because this is his second or third visit this season. So he's pretty excited about being a Bobcat, it seems.
Gotcha.
And that goes to what we were talking, why I transition into that. Recruiting, like they get it. Like whenever you bring up recruiting, I feel like you can kind of see Spav's eyes get big because he knows, like, I've got 5 commits.
Yeah.
And the early signing period is next month.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll have another chance in February, but they definitely alarm bells go off whenever they talk about recruiting. Like they're like, oh, we need to get on it, and especially getting the decommit this week too.
Yeah.
TJ Catal. Sorry if I say your name wrong, TJ.
That's the linebacker, right?
Yeah, out of Independence. He decommitted, and he seems like he's moving on. I reached out to him, he didn't respond. So
yeah,
but probably just done it, which is a shame. They could have used that linebacker, but they also have 3 other linebackers committed, and they're looking at some other guys. So they understand that recruiting is a big deal, and they've put out 45 invitations to recruits to come this Saturday. And so that's they have got more guys who've confirmed they're going to go, but they're definitely trying with that. But on to South Alabama a little bit, kind of brought them up. It's the one team in the Sun Belt that is below Texas State in scoring offense, which is amazing because the Bobcats average just 18.2 points a game, but South Alabama's like 14 points a game, which is. It's pretty low.
Yeah, it's pretty low. They're playing some bad football.
And, I watch the Bobcats, and I'm like, wow, this is a terrible offense. And to think that there's another one in conference that's worse makes me feel a little better because that's got to be
always
brutal.
Good.
That's got to be brutal. Watch all my talk, and they're going to put up like 40 on them.
Oh, man. It's a high-scoring game.
No, they won't. And that's the thing. Is Texas State's defense, because Bobcats are favored by 7.5. You don't have to hear a prediction, but I think Bobcats are going to win.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm very confident. The little bit I've seen of South Alabama, it's just I'm not too excited about. And Texas State's defense, they've given up some points in the second half, which the last 2 opponents, it was close at halftime. Granted, the last 2 were Louisiana Lafayette and Arkansas State. They were close at halftime, and then both those teams came out in the second half and rattled off 21 points.
Yep.
And you can't have that. They've got to figure out a way to stop that. Some help with that would be help from the offense, where it's not 21 unanswered. Maybe you're at least going punch for punch with them.
Right.
But South Alabama, I feel like Texas State's defense versus that offense, it's going to be a fun day for the Bobcats there. Have you gotten a look at South Alabama at all?
Yeah, I looked at South Alabama. They're not impressive at all. I saw that they're not playing very well defensively. I know offensively they're just atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those games where it's ours to lose. Definitely. We're the favorites. I mean, it's homecoming. It's ours to lose. I think we'll be able to control the line of scrimmage, up front and on both sides of the ball. I think that we will be able to establish a running game. And whenever we've seen that so far, whenever we can establish a running game, we're going to be okay offensively. I think that's going to be key. I think defense will do their thing. They'll hold it down. It'll be a low-scoring game for South Alabama against us.
I think it'll be low-scoring for both.
Yeah. So I think we'll put up some points against South Alabama. And, it won't be a high-scoring game, but I think we will be able to, get some points rolling finally against the South Alabama team.
Yeah. I'm hoping this is the game where Vitt really has a clean game, where he's not taking a bunch of sacks, not throwing picks, and he's getting it going. He's just down a bunch of weapons is the only thing with Micah Hiltz, Jeremiah Haydell, and some of those other guys. But he needs to have a clean game. The one thing, establishing the run game, I think that's what they got to do. The way they were doing designed runs with Vitt, Anthony Taylor in there, get my guy AT 100 yards. Come on, I had such high hopes for him in the offseason, and he hadn't been getting in there. No, it's funny because him and Jalen Nelson, I want to see both those guys get a lot of carries. Nelson, they don't love him like I love him. I saw him at Duncanville in high school, so I've always wanted him to play. And then they flashed Calvin Hill that one time. Do you remember that? He scored a touchdown. That freshman running back. Who
was AT? Would be starting for us.
That's what Coach was saying.
We still, Kev, we still need that premier back, man. I feel Twyford is pretty good. I think he's one of those guys that's going to be able to provide some depth. But we still need the premier back. I know I was big on Twyford, but there's been times when it's just like, So he's good. He's one of those guys where it's good to have him in the running back room. He gets out there, he can make plays, he can run the ball. Like that's what you're looking for from a running back. But we still are lacking that premier back. Mm-hmm. When you look at those backs, like Marcus Curry, then you had Rob Lowe, there's just we already knew Rob, we didn't have to worrying about running game. We just get the ball to Rob Lowe.
Need that bell cow.
Just a bell cow,
Mm-hmm.
and that just goes into having a premier back. We don't have that necessarily on our roster right now.
I'm with you.
So we that's an area where I know coaches, they're recruiting running backs, have the transfer coming in. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge for us.
And maybe Jamal Jeter is that premier back, the Oklahoma State guy that's visiting. Maybe or Brock Sturgis, the guy I brought up earlier. I'm with you. They need that back because Twyford is a nice. I wish he was the second running back.
He's a nice two.
Yeah,
that's what I said. He's a great two. There's nothing against Twyford,
but he's 170 pounds.
He's light. He's a great two. He gets hit a little hard. He gets beat up sometimes. He tries to stay in there. I see it. I understand. You can't
give that guy 20 carries a game.
Can't. No. He's a burst guy. He can come in there and give you a quick couple carries for.
Maybe a catch out of the backfield.
Catch out of the backfield, perimeter runs, running outside the perimeter. Yeah, man, stretch plays. And he can do a lot of things with Twyford, but we need that number one guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why he keeps getting banged up because he's not.
He's out right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. And so that's why we'll see what they do running game this week with that. But I feel even with the players they're missing on offense, they should have a pretty good week. Even looking at the whole schedule, they could almost squeeze out a couple wins. You look at Coastal at the end of the year. I think they have Troy after. Is it Troy and then App? I think that's because at home versus South Alabama this week, and then at home again versus Troy, and it's on the road at App State and on the road at Coastal. I really feel like they can get it this week. I feel like they can beat Coastal. And they could almost beat Troy. I'm being way too optimistic. I'm saying 3 of the last 4. I'm not buying all that. But I do think that the back end of this schedule, despite App State, they can be competitive in there.
Yeah. I mean, we at early projection, I had us going 3-9 this year. I said best case scenario was 4-8, and that I stand by what I said before week 1 started. I still think that it's going to be a 3-9 kind of year. Best case scenario for this football team would be 4-8. I see us beating South Alabama this week, and the best case scenario would be us pulling off Coastal Carolina on the road. App State, Troy, those two, it's going to be tough games for us. So I think both best case for this team looking at a 4-8, but I think the fans are okay with us being 3-9 or 4-8 right now. They're fine. What in the program, what we're looking for is something to look forward to for next year. Improvement, something to look forward to. Like, man, we get this defense coming back. No, we don't. All right, we get this quarterback. Quarterback play wasn't too good. Offensive line, not good. They're young, and running back. We didn't have 1,000-yard right. You know what I'm saying? So
it's hard to get excited.
It's just hard to get excited, man. And it's just the only thing right now we can look forward to is what we're doing on the recruiting trail. And when we look at what we're doing on the recruiting trail, it's just like, well, damn. So I'm just so glad that we have these guys coming in. I think this is huge news, some great news for the program that we have some pretty good transfers coming in this weekend. Yeah,
to at least come and check it out, because I feel like that's the hardest part about recruiting Texas State is getting them actually come to San Marcos. But once anybody goes to San Marcos, you look around, you start seeing all the amenities, you see the river, you see the beautiful campus, see the nice facilities, and you're like, I could see myself here. I mean, and I've never had someone visit San Marcos and go, nah, that place sucks.
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
You could say the team sucks till you're blue in the face, but San Marcos doesn't suck, and people know that, and they've got to sell that. But yeah, you're 3-4 wins. You did say that at the beginning of the year, and I think you're spot on. I said 5.
Yeah,
I was a little more optimistic, because one of those 5 was ULM, and I still. It smack my lips when I think about that, because I'm so mad about that ULM game, that 24-14 game, because that's a team they should have beaten for sure. But even if it is just 3-4 wins, Withers' first year was 2 wins.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if he gets to 4, you double that. I mean, it's not great, but it's improvement. It's like, okay, if that's his first go around, his first year, how's he going to improve in that year 2 and then year 3? We want to see some things where it's like we see this coaching staff starting to lay a foundation. That's what we want to see these last 4 games, because they have to go. You got to beat South Alabama. You have to this week, and then you got to at least be competitive those last 3 games. It can't be after halftime the other team makes a bunch of adjustments and figures out your simple system and scores a bunch of points on you. Yeah. It can't be that way, or else we're going to go into the offseason not excited.
Yeah,
because you just went through the positions trying to get excited. Although I'm excited about Brady McBride at quarterback.
That is true.
That's the one guy that we haven't seen him play on the field, but you go to practice, you watch him on the scout team, or even when they almost thought he was going to get cleared, they were putting him in there a little bit with the first unit, and when he rolls out and throws the ball, it's pretty fun.
And I haven't heard of any portal quarterback guys or transfers or big quarterbacks we're trying to recruit. Like I haven't heard of it now, so it leads me to believe that the staff is they have high hopes for McBride.
Seems like they've put all their chips in the middle of the table for McBride.
Yeah.
And Cedric Case too. They're like, okay, there's McBride, there's Case. That's a pretty good 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And even if you shoot Vid or Jensen next year, all of them are going to be back next year.
Yeah. Between
so they'll have experienced backups.
Having their guy and then having they're going to have a whole quarterback room full of backups. Yeah, experienced backups. Sorry.
Yeah. No reason to even recruit quarterback. I mean, they're looking at some 2021 guys.
Yeah, 2021 would be more of a year.
But for 2020, it seems like they are going hard after DBs, which I didn't expect. The main positions are both lines, linebacker, and then DB. A lot of DB JUCO offers you see going out there. So
running back too, right? They're recruiting
running back too. Good call. Yeah, running back too. But running back, I would say it's kind of second tier to the line linebackers and DBs. It seems they're offering a ton at all those positions. But they're they need a couple receivers. Obviously, they're going after that Drew Jackson guy we talked about.
Yeah.
But a lot of the receivers are coming back.
Yeah.
Tight ends are coming back. I mean, there's some pieces coming back, but that's what I want to see the last 4 games is exactly how you put it. Something to get excited about. Show me what's on the horizon.
Yeah.
You know?
One thing we do have to give, Coach Spav some credit, for is that he wasn't left with the things that Coach Withers was left with at the time. Withers, had a returning quarterback. He had Tyler Jones here still. That's every coach's biggest concern is who's going to be at quarterback. So Coach Withers had a roster of some players. Now it was he ran some of them off. Half the football team was gone. That's his own issue. But when you look at the roster that Withers took over and the roster that Coach Spav took over, those rosters don't even come close to comparing. When you look at the teams Withers was facing and you look at the teams we faced this year, you can't. This is a tougher schedule.
Oh, no doubt.
This is a tougher schedule. So the fact that we can pull out 3 or 4 wins on this current schedule with the current players that we have, you got to start thinking of giving Coach Spav a little bit of credit what he was able to come in here and do year one.
I said it on one of our pods, and maybe I was being too bold, but I said if this team had last year's schedule, they'd be flirting with bowl eligibility.
Yeah.
Now that we've gone on with some injuries and stuff, maybe I was being a little too positive, but that doesn't take away from the point that last season's schedule was so much easier than this one. The non-conference schedule alone, those first 3 games were crazy. Everybody knew it was 0-3 from the jump.
When is the last time we faced 3 top 25 teams in one season?
Yeah.
My goodness. We played SMU. Mm-hmm. We have App at the back end, and we started the season out with Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. That's 3 losses right there. It's a tough schedule. It is a tough schedule.
No doubt. It is. It is.
Yeah.
And that's why if at the end of this tough schedule, if they can somehow get to 4 wins and get 2 more at the end of this, I wouldn't call it a success. I'd call it decent. I would be like, it would give me optimism for the future, for going forward.
Right. Correct.
But we should probably get to those questions.
Let's get to the questions, man.
Otherwise,
we'll be here all night.
We'll be here all night. It's good to be back.
It's good, man. I really appreciate you being back, man.
Me too. And you know what? I kind of didn't touch on this at the beginning, so I'm going to kind of do it now.
Yep.
It took some time off. My grandfather passed away, Shelley Stapleton, my mom's father. He was a great man, really instilled my love of football my entire life. He played football growing up, played at Galena Park.
Nice.
Actually, when I went to his funeral, his best friend from when they played football together gave me a newspaper clipping from when he played, and he was the backup offensive guard at Galena Park his senior year, number 43, and he weighed 160 pounds.
Wow.
He was an offensive guard. This is like, the 50s.
Wow.
And that's how small they were back then. But, and it's somebody who definitely my entire life instilled a love of football in me and my love of sports and my career and everything. Now I feel like it was growing up around him and him putting that in me. So, and he listened to the pod a few times.
Oh, nice, man.
He was one of my most loyal viewers and readers and everything. So
nice.
So R.I.P. Shelley Stapleton.
R.I.P. Mr. Stapleton, and man, much love and respect. Prayers out to you. I know I told you off the air, but prayers out to you, Keff, and your family, and just being a professional, man. And we gave you your time off, but Keff, guys, going through this whole situation, with his family and just ultimate professional. Keff still, trying to see what we can do here and there. It's a true testament to how dedicated you are of what you do, man. I really appreciate what you do for us over here with Fifth Quarter and also what you do for our Bobcats, man.
Hey, and it goes both ways, man.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for you and the fact that you were very helpful with this,
Yeah.
and so and understanding, but always good to be back. And I know you took some time off to do some Athletes Connect.
Oh, I did, man. I did. We're in the process of getting ready to launch, the first app. It's the first app in the world of its kind. His Athlete Connect is by owned by myself and my brother Brian Orakpo. I'm sure you guys know that guy.
Doesn't he sell cupcakes or something?
He sells cupcakes. He owned the cupcake commercials, man, or Microsoft cupcakes commercials that he's on with Gigi's Cupcakes. But yeah, we have an app. It's called Athlete Connect app. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We're building. What our app does is it pretty much it connects local athletes with private coaches and trainers nearby. So if you have a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old kid and you want to find a coach near you, you can just download the app. Or if you're a 16-year-old, you can create a profile, put all your recruiting information, your whole links and everything like that onto your Athlete Connect profile, and you can not only can you sync up with nearby coaches, you can send that profile off to college scouts and stuff. So we want to help aid these student athletes getting to the next level.
It's very cool, and I know it's going to be successful. He was showing it to me off the air earlier. It's very clean looking app. Looks really cool. You can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's almost like a Tinder for athletes trying to find training. Yeah, am I right there?
Yeah, it's like like an Uber. It's like kind of like a Uber. Like, okay. I want to boop boop. Then
instead of finding drivers near me, it's trainers near me. It's pretty cool. It's pretty, and especially if anyone's ever trying to get recruited or what have you, or if you know a kid trying to get recruited, Athletes Connect sounds like a pretty solid deal to
absolutely
download and check out and all that. But now we got all those formalities out of the way. Those are good. I meant to do that at the beginning. Let's do
some questions.
We just have a few because we were off for a while. We'll need more for the next one though. Ask fifth quarter. There we go. There's my app. All right, let's start. I'm going to scroll back to one in October from ETX Bobcat at ETX Bobcat 16. We know him well. Or she, they've definitely sent in some questions before, but we've got, as fans, how can we show support for recruitment while being reasonable? What can fans do to show love for recruiting? Social media. I mean, if you ever see, hey, so-and-so has just been offered, follow that guy, send him a GIF and say, go Bobcats, or, just anything. You don't ever want to get in their DMs and be all weird about it, or you want to be positive. If you want to be supportive, be positive. Even if they decommit, don't jump in there and be like, oh, you should understand what the word commit means. I always say every time a kid decommits, as if every other 17-year-old doesn't flip-flop picking a college. Like, no need to blame these kids for decommitting or what have you. But for the most part, I feel like Texas State Twitter is pretty positive.
Yeah,
you put out someone's getting an offer, and then that's what a lot of the fans will jump in and say, "Hey, San Marcos is great. Come on down here." But that's the most you can do. I mean, you really, if you try and do more than that, you're doing too much. Because really, it's up to the coaches to get them in here and figure out all the details and what it takes to recruit them. But you actually played and were recruited, so you might know better than me. What would if you were being recruited? What would you want to hear from fans?
I wouldn't necessarily. There's not anything that I'm trying to hear. I just really want to see the level of support. If I'm going to commit to Texas State University, I want to see Bobcats following me. I want to see Bobcats tweeting me and, showing love, because everybody wants to feel love, especially when you're making one of the, toughest decisions probably of your life. You're making this at 17, 18 years old. So if you are a fan, supporter of Texas State football program, and you see that we've gotten an offer out, or we have a commit, somebody that made a commitment, make sure you follow that guy, number one, and then make sure you guys are, tweeting them some gifts and like, man, you're going to be a great player for us. Thank you for, just show them some love, and the biggest thing here is show class always. Always show class. If a guy decommits, there is a possibility, as you can see, we have one of two guys right now who was once committed, or we recruited at one time, and they came back. If you guys, toss a recruit out and start talking crap because the recruit decommit, you never know. We could actually have, a say in getting this kid back a later time. Just be respectful. These are young kids. Some of them may never come back, but these are young kids. They change their decisions. I changed, I changed things I want to do still till today. I always change my mind on stuff. You never know. So just always be respectful, whether they're committed coming to us or whether they decommit, they're going somewhere else. Show them love, man. Show some class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said. Show some class with that. I went to UNT my first year. You never know. You never know what happens.
Yeah, I'm a whole Colorado State guy. You guys embrace me. I'm not gonna go and I trash the other school and just show some class. I still don't like what they did over there. I was on my way out and they trashed me because they felt that they was losing probably a good player at the time. And now it took me a while to get show love back to that school again, because of how you were treated on the way out. I mean, it stings, it stings. So if you do that, we don't want recruits talking bad about this school. We can't have that.
No, definitely not. Another thing fans can do is show up to the games.
Show, of course.
A full stadium definitely helps recruiting always. But if you're listening to this podcast, I'm pretty sure you're one of the fans that gets that and you go to the game. Let's see. Spav from at SOTX State or TXST, and their name is Spav Easy. A lot of people are talking about how we should handle player personnel in the final weeks. I'm more concerned about the offseason. We have a history of losing our best assistant coaches each offseason. Interesting point. Which one of these areas should we as fans be most concerned? Interesting. So basically the question is, they're not as concerned about who's getting playing time and experience the last 4 games. They're more concerned about, are we going to handle this offseason correctly? And are we going to lose coaches like has happened in the past? You know, I mean, I can specifically think of like Brett Elliott. It was after his first year being offensive coordinator.
We lost a lot of coaches in the last staff. Mm-hmm, this is a great question.
Yeah, and is that something that concerns you at all, or no?
I have that's a great question, but I have 0% concern about any of our coaches leaving and our personnel, our staff, leaving somewhere else because. Number one, in which this is most important, Coach Spav is a great guy. He's a great guy. He's liked by, just about most of the coaches. Anybody that, is associated with him, they always talk very highly of Coach Spav. So we have people on our staff that, chose to come here and work with him versus going other places. Mm-hmm. So I think from a level of loyalty, they're willing to. They're not going to be having their eyes open. What happened in the last, staff was.
It was toxic. They wanted out.
It was toxic. They wanted out. It wasn't that we were. Nobody's just recruiting Texas State off of winning. Going 2-10. They just wanted out. So but Coach Spav, I don't. He's not going to have guys around him that want out. And then the fact that right now we're still in rebuild mode right now. We're not coming off of an 8-9 win season, and where we got so many different position coaches coaching some of the best players in the belt right now. We don't have that. So I don't see anybody knocking on the doors to come get one of our guys right now at this point in time. I could be wrong, but it's just, as of right now, I think we should be good with keeping our staff going into next year.
And I'm with you because I think that a lot of it goes back to the situation when coaches were leaving. That they were trying to get out of this situation. Doesn't seem like, despite not having a ton of wins, nobody seems unhappy or disgruntled, or no one's throwing each other under the bus. And I also think Spavital kind of set the tone for with the whole Cardinals thing back in January. When Cliff Kingsbury got hired by the Cardinals, immediately reached out to Spavital and said, "Hey, come be my offense coordinator." And he turned that down. And when I asked him about it, I feel like I've talked about this on the pod before. I'm bringing it up again. When I asked him about it, not on record, on camera or anything, I was like, well, what made you stay? You kind of, you just love Texas State that much? And he said, it comes down to my coaches and my guys.
Yeah.
I got these guys to leave their jobs and move their families to San Marcos. And then 2 months later, I'm going to leave for the NFL. He's like, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, for how many other people would have done that?
Yeah.
You know, it speaks to his
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. A lot would have.
A lot.
A lot would have.
This is a cutthroat industry.
Shoot, man. The Cardinals call me and they're like, hey, you want to come cover us? I might be out the door, folks. No.
Before you even get off the phone.
No. But, you know, I like to think that character bleeds through to his staff.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a trickle down deal. But you never know.
Yeah.
Somebody may get a job somewhere. But I think for both of the reasons you said, for a loyalty aspect, and they're not really the hottest candidates on earth right now, considering what's going on. Not that they're bad coaches.
And it's not that about. I hate that these things. Now we live in a day and age now. It's like 2019. It's a day and age to where if you say something like that, and it's just like, oh, we have the worst coaches. Nobody wants them. Like, it's just like,
I don't want it. I need context.
It's
I got to explain context.
It's the worst. It's horrible, man. Media, man. Goodness gracious.
Don't knock it. I love media.
You media people, man. Y'all just, no,
see, we live in it. No, you're right though. Like it's just life.
Click baits, man. My goodness. Let's move on.
Whatever. You want to be in this media life. You know it. All right, who we got here? We've got from Creme Brulee. At Creme Brulee, is that 20? Creme Brulee 2016. This one's for Rack Nation. Rack specifically. Moving forward and keeping in mind the need to build the program for future success, is going the JUCO route, like the coaching staff seems to be doing, is going the JUCO route the wise move for future success? Do you think that, because they are offering a ton of JUCO?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that we are.
Do you think that's the route for success? Loaded question considering what success. I would say winning season.
Yeah.
Is that the way to get to a winning season?
There's multiple ways to skin a cat, you know. You just got to do what's best for your situation, you know. There's teams that don't go to JUCO route as much. Like, you know, I believe UT had a history of not getting a lot of JUCO guys, you know, or a lot of transfer guys. You know, they want to recruit. We are UT. We're going to go recruit our guys. And, you know, has it worked for them? I mean, it's up for debate, you know, but you look at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's like, hey, we're going to go get Baker Mayfield. You know, that's a Heisman winner. Ended up winning the Heisman. Hey, we're getting Jalen Hurts up for the Heisman this year. Oklahoma's one of the best teams in the country. They went the JUCO route. They went the transfer route. You know, Art Browse. That was you know, I know all the controversy, but when Art Browse was at Baylor, guess what? Art Browse was going out and getting some of the best transfers in the country. It's like, hey, you can come on over to Baylor. We're gonna help you, you know, rebuild your image and give you a second chance at life. And he was just like, come on. And how many times did Art Browse, you know, be in the position, you know, he won the Big 12 and very competitive Baylor, you know, program he had there. So there are ways for you to be able to build, you know, your football team, your program off of transfers, because number one, the most important thing is you're getting these guys to be quick fixes. So you have to make sure you're getting the right guys, because if you strike out and you have a whole team full of those guys are just there, just wasting time and wasting scholarships. And those are prime positions that you could have groomed through, you know, with the high school guys and get them ready. So you have to make sure you're bringing in the right transfer guys. But I believe that if you have so much immediate needs on your football team, of course, you go get transfer portal guys, go get JUCO guys, and start winning. Because what does winning do? Winning puts more seats in the butts in the seat. Winning gets you access to better high school recruits now, which you then can start grooming so that when they become juniors and seniors, they're able to have the impact that some of those JUCO guys was giving you right away.
So start JUCO and then move to high school.
Oh, absolutely. JUCO is never going to be a long-term solution.
Right.
It's a quick fix, short term. Yep.
And so I like that plan. It seems like that's the plan they're going.
Yeah.
Withers was not about JUCO at all. He had a few JUCO guys here and there, but Spavital, they kind of understands like, okay, this is what you do. And Fran understood that too.
Yeah,
it works. And for me personally, I'm a second chance guy. I'm always about bringing on the bounce back, you know, and letting them come in and new change of scenery and everything will work out great for you. I mean, because even, you know, it doesn't even have to be like a bad second chance. You know, like Keenan Brown at Oklahoma State. He just needed to change of scenery, a place that would give him the ball. You know, now he's on the practice squad with the Texans. So, I mean, it seems like we both agree that right now they need to go JUCO and then move on to high school. Even though that question wasn't for me, I gave my answer too. I had to jump in there. I love to hear myself talk. No. This is our last one here. We need more questions, y'all. I know we were off for a while, but we'll prep it more. Hit us with more questions next time. But this one's from Terry Lice, who asks one every time. Him and ETX always do.
Terry Lice, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in.
ETX too. All y'all, Creme Brulee, Spav Easy, all the names. All right, here we go. Oh, good. I'm glad you asked this. Basketball season tipped off last night. Yes, it did. They look good. I can talk about that one. You guys plan to cover that program as well, or is this a football-specific podcast? Great question. We will be covering some basketball. Obviously, he played football, and football is my sport that I feel I am the closest to an expert at. Not an expert by any means, but my expertise is pretty aligned closely with the sport of football. So we'll always lean towards football. But yeah, of course, we're going to talk basketball. In fact, we're about to do it right now.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit of basketball last night. I wish I'd pulled up stats from the game. Yeah. But I can give a few guys who I think are going to have pretty solid years, starting with Nigel Pearson, who I know you like. Yeah. I couldn't believe that he didn't get Sun Belt Player of the Year preseason. Yeah, that's crazy. They gave it to Trey Mitchell out of South Alabama.
Yeah,
it's like dude has one.
He was decent last year, but I mean, Nigel's been that way the whole time. I mean,
Nigel has been killing it since he was a freshman, and this is his senior year.
That's no love right there for the Texas State Bobcats on that, man.
I'll tell you what though, Nigel's the kind of guy where I almost want a chip on his shoulder. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what it was last year that I tweeted something about his game, like maybe not. I have to go back. I'll go back to this, folks.
He wasn't feeling it.
He was doing something. He wasn't hitting threes well, and I say that in a tweet. And the next time I go to practice and I hit him, and I asked him about that, and he's just like, well, I know y'all are saying I can't do this, so I went out there and proved I could do it. I was like, I love it. He hears that, logs it away in his mind, and goes, oh, yeah, bet. I'm going to show you what I can do. And he does that. So almost him getting snubbed and not getting that player preseason award, I think it's going to fire him up. I think Nigel's in for a big year. Yeah, because he looks bigger. I don't know if you saw any film of him last night. Looks bigger, like more muscular, not taller. Still like 6'5", 6'6", around there. He's definitely put on some muscle. He hit a three because that's one thing is more consistent shooting that he needs to work on. I really do think he's in for a big year. And they've got at point guard, got Mason Harrell, the Mighty Mouse out there. He's like 5'7", little bitty point guard, but he balls, and he's averaged 33 points a game in Oklahoma in high school. So I mean, like the little man can really shoot that ball. He's going to his sophomore year. Between him and Marlon Davis there at point guard, they have pretty good two good speedsters there at the point guard position. The only question is really at shooting guard, who's really going to step in and play there. Yeah. So they're kind of working out some pieces. But I think the Bobcats are in for another 20-win season. I really do. I look at this, and it's only Texas Lutheran that they whooped on last night, but they put up 103. Yeah. And you never see Casper teams put up 100 points. Yeah, they look good. So I'm pretty excited about this basketball team. There's some other pieces. Yeah. Caleb Asbury is a true freshman coming in out of Austin. Who's the name? Isaiah Small, big. He looks real long, super skinny guy, 6'7", 170 pounds. Yeah, that's a real skinny guy, but he's got some nice length in there. So I'm pretty excited about the fighting Caspers this year. They're gonna do it this year.
And Coach Antoine's team, girls too, as well, right?
They won. Yeah, they won too.
They won too.
They killed it too.
Give some love to the women's Texas State women's basketball, man. I mean, they're off to a good start. I think she has a younger team. So it looks like she's a younger team, but they're very chippy. I know she got some good recruits in there, and I feel like this is their year to finally emerge into the top. They're right in the middle. But I think this is the year that they're trying to find a way to start emerging into that top third of the conference. With Coach Antoine's squad there.
Tasha Leavitt is gone. I think she's hooping in Germany now.
Yeah,
amazing 3-point shooter.
Yeah,
she was like the Steph Curry.
Lights out.
Her leaving is the one big hole on this team.
Big hole.
Yeah, it is, but it's one that I think that they can overcome. You just said it. They're a really young team. I mean, the Hawley twins are seniors, but besides that, there's no seniors.
Yeah.
So they've got a young team, and they're bigger. They're bigger this year because last year
they're bigger. I've noticed that.
Yeah,
they have some height on them this year.
Because they were more guard oriented last year. This year,
very quick.
Yeah.
Now I feel like she's gonna probably utilize a little bit more bigs on this year. They have some bigger.
Be some bullies in the paint down there.
Yeah.
But we'll both the teams. I'm excited about both of those. We're rarely positive about football, but basketball.
I used to hoop, man. I hooped in high school. So
you can't hang with me.
them glory days.
You'll beat me on a football field, but I'll take you in basketball.
Man, please,
we'll do it right now. I'm
please.
sneaky.
Everybody always think these Orakpo boys can't hoop. Man, please. Basketball was my first sport, man.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I know Brian could do it. What's he, 6'4"? Brian's got that.
Yeah,
height.
Brian was 6'4". See, Brian was a big guy. I was the three. I could play the three, but yeah. Basketball, I played organized AAU basketball for a long time. I actually started all 3 years, 9th, 10th, 11th grade.
Well, maybe I can't beat you. I may have spoken too soon there. Can I rescind that and we'll just never take it out on the court?
Yeah, man.
I love basketball. We'll have to go out to a game and
definitely
maybe get some coaches as guests on our show or something. We'll figure out. We'll do something fun for basketball. We're definitely not going to call it quits just because football season ends,
Yep.
But that was our last question. That about does it. Good to be back, Mike. And we're going to come back sooner. We don't have a date for you yet, but we're gonna get back into the swing of things here. We really appreciate y'all still tuning in, sending questions, and liking us and subscribing and all those good things that we need from y'all. Please, like I mentioned them earlier, SHN Sports. We're using their studio, so please go follow them at SHN Sports on Twitter. And on the YouTube page at SHN Sports, that's where you'll find all these videos here. Obviously, if you're looking at it, you've already found it. So go ahead and subscribe to their YouTube page on there. Most of y'all know us on Twitter and Instagram at the Fifth Quarter Podcast.
Holla at us.
Just hit us with questions. We need some good questions, for this upcoming one. But that should do it. That wraps it up this time. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see you next time. It's a whole move that time.